Hello class, my name is Gulet Abdi and my presentation is going to be about the World Trade Organization. On May 19, 1948, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, was created. This was not an international organization, but an intergovernmental treaty. This provided the structure for the conduct of international trade, but this expanded and grew yearly, and in April 1994, in the Uruguay round of multilateral trade negotiations, expanded on the GATT and created the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. Its goal is to help producers of goods and services, exporters and importers conduct and grow their business. Also to improve the welfare of the people of the membering countries. Like I said before, the World Trade Organization is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations, but also it does this by administrating trade agreements, acting as a forum for trade discussions, settling trade disputes, reviewing national trade policies, assisting developing countries in trade policy issues through technical and training programs, and lastly, cooperating with other international organizations. The World Trade Organization is located in Geneva, Switzerland. It has a yearly income of 197 million Swiss francs. The World Trade Organization employs around 639 staff for technical support of the Council. Also has 161 countries that are a member of the World Trade Organization as of April 26, 2015. In the World Trade Organization, there are two main bodies, the Ministerial Conference and the General Council. The Ministerial Conference is responsible for carrying out the functions of the World Trade Organization. It meets at least once every 2 years, and the General Council runs the organization. Ambassadors, or the heads of each country's delegation in Geneva, are on this council. Under this council, there are three subsidiary councils: the Council for Trade in Goods, the Council for Trade in Services, and the Council for Trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. Almost all discussions in the World Trade Organization are made by consensus. Consensus not meaning completely agreed upon. It signifies that no country physically represented in a meeting of the Council is decisively against a major issue. Those who are not present or whom abstain from voting do not count. This is for the majority of votes done in the World Trade Organization rather than anything not stated to be voted on otherwise. The only thing that is completely agreed upon is the amendments relating to general principles such as most favored nation treatment. They also use a 3/4 vote and a 2/3 vote for this issue. This slide shows the organization chart of the World Trade Organization and goes into more depth on which council goes over which issues. The Quad. Some of the most difficult negotiations have needed initial breakthrough in talks among the four largest members, which are Canada, the European Union, Japan, and the United States. In order to join the World Trade Organization, you must first tell us about yourself. The government applying for the membership has to describe all aspects of its trade and economic policies that have bearing on the World Trade Organization. Second, work with us individually what you have to offer. It means country-to-country negotiations bilaterally. When the working party has made sufficient progress on principles and policies, parallel bilateral talks begins between the prospective new members of individual countries. Third, let's draft membership terms. The working party finalizes the terms of accession. This appears in a report, a draft membership treaty, which is the protocol of accession, and lists, which are the schedules of the members to be commitments. Finally, the decision, the final package consisting of the report, protocol, and listing commitments, is presented to the World Trade Organization General Council or the Ministerial Conference. The World Trade Organization the World Trade Organization has some critiques, such as the World Trade Organization undermines state sovereignty. It undermines representative democracy. Member nations are prevented from protecting the environment, and members are unable to uphold laws guaranteeing workers' rights. The Trade Organization is controlled by larger nations, and the World Trade Organization represents the interests of large corporations. And I also believe that the World Trade Organization is corrupt. To support my point of view, I will be talking about a case study. On November 30th, 1999, over 50,000 people gathered in Seattle, Washington for a peaceful protest. They came from all over the world and on many different issues. They were organized laborers, environmentalists, farmers, students, and teachers, people of faith, indigenous people, and anarchists, just to name a few of. The protesters all came for different causes, but they all had the same agenda in mind. They all came to protest the World Trade Organization, which was having a ministerial conference at the time. They were to represent the fact that the United States attempted to block the import of shrimp that use certain types of nets that capture and drown 150,000 sea turtles every year. The World Trade Organization called the block arbitrary and unjustified. Every environmental case to date to come to the World Trade Organization has been ruled for business and against the environment. People gathered to protest the idea that child prison and forced labor, substandard wages, and working conditions couldn't be used as a basis to discriminate against goods included in the list. Environmental destruction, habitat loss, toxic waste production, and the presence of transgenic materials or synthetic hormones cannot be used as a basis to screen or stop goods from entering a country. With the agenda they were discussing to draft at the conference, Europeans can no longer block or demand labeling or genetically modify crops without being slapped with the punitive lawsuits and tariffs. If the agenda was drafted, it would allow the start of privatizing all waters and will give corporations patent protection on life forms. This would allow companies to create seeds with terminator genes. This gene caused seeds to lose their ability to reproduce major leaders in the protest, just a large number of minor ones. It was a peaceful protest in which they were trained on how to handle violence in a peaceful way. Unfortunately, the media did not show any of this. Instead, they focused on the anarchists who were rioting and destroying property. The police used this as an excuse to attack the peaceful protesters, and that was when everything became hectic. This conference ended up being canceled and rescheduled in a country more supportive of the World Trade Organization. In conclusion, the World Trade Organization has many critiques and has tried to clear itself of these charges by clarifying some misconceptions. Unfortunately, in the end, I still believe that the World Trade Organization is a corrupt organization. They state they are democratic, yet they take votes and have meetings without having everyone present. They have made crimes against humanity that will affect the future generation in the name of making a dollar easier. They try to make arguments to support their cases, but in the end, it's still weak. The World Trade Organization is a good idea, but it just puts businesses and the rules of the game too much above the people of the world. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, just post it on the forum and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a great day.